All right, looks like we are live today. We're going to talk about how to make cold, hard cash selling grocery on Amazon FBA with online arbitrage and retail arbitrage. And we have my good friend Rob. If you guys have been to any live streams, he is almost always here. RW is his name on YouTube. Does somewhere in the ballpark of 45K a month with mostly grocery. So today we're going to talk a little bit about that. Also, he has been selling some coffee makers eBay to Amazon as well, which is super interesting. Earlier in the live stream today, he was like, yep, I sent 10 offers. 4 got accepted, $65 profit on each one, which is absolutely nuts. But yeah, how did you get started even reselling? Like, where did that get started for you, Rob?
Well, thanks for having me on the show, Seth. Been a big fan. Watched you guys for a while, you and Eco Flips. Got double audio here.
Oh, shoot.
So I'm hearing myself in echo.
Oh, no worries. It's all good. And even if you just talk and like close your ears, that would be okay. But no worries if so.
All right, getting back to where I was. So I've been reselling. Started on eBay in what was it? I wrote it all down in '96. Basically buying and selling on eBay for that since then, and then Amazon was 2019. I started selling on there. Basically, at the beginning, I was selling all clothes like everybody else, shoes, things like that. But then I started looking more into the groceries because it was more readily available and didn't cost as much. So for me, it was more of a cost out of pocket in the beginning. I didn't use credit cards and stuff like that. Like we've spoke in the past, it was strictly cash. So looking and buying groceries was more readily available, like I said. So the ROI is not that great. I mean, it's $2 to $3 per item on general stuff. So I just like getting into that. It was, like I said, it was readily available. So then I started selling stuff from Walmart, Target, local grocery stores. Branched more into coffee stuff. I really like coffee, so I started getting stuff that I like. Tea, juices. So things like that are what I pretty much do 99 or 80% of the time now. So.
Yeah. And I mean, you kind of talk about the ROI. There's a couple different characteristic things about grocery that is helpful to know. Number one, oftentimes a lot of this stuff is going to be somewhat low of ROI. Like it's a little bit more rare to find stuff that's just going to be like 200% ROI in grocery that like actually like moves. I mean, that's a super over exaggeration, but the good thing about grocery is that that is paired with the fact that in grocery, there's virtually no returns, like absolutely no returns. So like if it's a 26% ROI, like you're really making that 26% ROI. A lot of people out there, they're selling apparel, they're selling Nike socks, they're doing all this shoe flipping game type stuff. And they're like, wow, I'm making 40, 50, 60% ROI. But then they get like 25% returns a month. And they're like losing shoes and stuff. And they're like, well, what am I actually making? With grocery, like it's like a first date where you like actually meet the person and they actually like show who they are the first date instead of, oh, I bought these shoes and I ended up losing all these shoes at IND4. So that's an interesting thing about grocery. And real quick in the chat, we have Blaine and we're back after 5 hours of streaming. If you guys haven't checked that out, me, Blaine, and RW and a bunch of other people were kind of just talking, hanging out, doing our work for 5 hours. That is on the channel, just hanging out there. And now we're here doing a little bit shorter of a stream, but with RW and kind of talking about how he makes his money with grocery. Good to see you, Blaine. We have 7 people in the chat. Thank you guys for coming out. If you guys haven't liked the video, please go ahead and do so. It helps get the word out. So you started selling grocery because it was like more readily available. But did you start selling grocery around when COVID happened and the shutdowns happened? Is that a reason why you went into grocery in particular? Or is that completely unrelated?
No, I was selling groceries before then. It was just I saw an easier way to have more items to sell.
Yeah. I'm curious, Rob, do you have a Trader Joe's in your area?
Yes. Yeah, I don't buy from Trader Joe at all.
No, you don't, just because you don't like the reseller unfriendliness of it, or
yeah, they don't like.
Yeah. Yeah.
I was scanning in that store a while back before I really found out how much they dislike, resellers.
Yeah. How did you find out how much they disliked resellers?
The manager came up and told me, asked me what I was doing.
Yeah. What did he say?
He just basically said, hey, I know what you're doing. We really don't appreciate that in this store. And if you wouldn't mind wrapping up your stuff and getting out.
Yeah. Yeah, I basically had that happen as well. I had.
I haven't touched anything from them since then.
Yeah, it's not the friendliest of environments, but there's some profitable stuff there. Like I was purchasing these dog treats, and I had like 20 of them. And the manager's like, "That's a lot of quantity. Like, what are you doing with these?" I'm like, "Selling them."
Yeah, Target's.
Yeah, they're kind of the same a little bit.
Target's pretty much the same way. They don't like resellers either. So, when I go in there, sometimes I'm a little more low key.
Yeah.
But I rarely buy groceries from Target.
Yeah. Flips for Miles and Garrett, they say, if you're not banned from Target, you're not even a reseller. I never went super hard with Target. I did other stuff, but definitely banned from Trader Joe's. Like I came back the next week and they're like, remember the conversation we had last week? They were like on me in like 2 seconds. Like kind of wild that they remembered that. But we have Blaine in the chat saying, do you find in grocery that customers buy multiple of an item? That's a really good question. What do you think, Rob?
Yeah, I mean, a lot of the items that I sell, Blaine and everybody on there is, they'll buy. I'll have probably 20 listings, and I have people buy them all out.
Geez, really? 20?
Yeah.
Whoa. It's a good product.
Yeah, if it's a good product, and it's, I think of Amazon, it's more of a convenience. Yeah. So if you're stuck out in the middle of nowhere and you want that item, you're going to buy as many as you can.
Yeah, that's a good point. The other day I was selling, I've mentioned in some streams that I've been selling like bulk items to just kind of like try and move a lot of items, get some volume under my belt and make my account health a little bit stronger. So for a while, I was selling these like mac and cheese frozen dinners that were like small and light. And I sent in 10 stock and some dude bought like 5 of them. It was just like very random, like not even that crazy of a story for grocery, I think, but like me and my little experience, I'm like, wow, like I thought 10 were going to sell in a month. And like some dude like came in and bought 5. Like what a weird world we live in, basically.
Yeah. I just recently I had a listing for Doritos that I bought at Costco. I bought 30 of them, put them on Amazon, and they were gone all at one shot. One person bought them all.
Why? Such a weird world we live in. Were they like super low ranked? Like, did it make
Yeah,
sense?
they were fast movers.
They were. Okay.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. So I'm curious for you, Rob, like what's your progression of like, how did you start sourcing? And then like, how did that progress into what it is now? Like without giving, you don't have to give your whole store away, obviously, but like just however you want to talk about that.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I used to go into, I was like retail arbitrage. I was going into the stores. Whenever we went to groceries, my family, I'd be scanning. This is one for this one. This is like that. And it got to the point where I couldn't go to the store as much. So it was online and I was just clicking away.
So it kind of started with retail arbitrage, and then you're like,
it was all retail, and then time-wise, it just didn't permit me to spend 5 hours in Walmart.
Yeah, and you were kind of like, I know that Walmart has these items. Like, let's just look them up online. Like, I'll be able to purchase these items. Some of them, they're not going to be in stock online, but a good percentage of them, they were, right?
Yeah, some of the items that are not, at stock, at my local store, if I have them shipped to me, I'll just buy them from another local store and have it shipped to my house and go that route. So
that's a good point of online arbitrage, because like you'll go to like the Walmart in the west part of town, and like they have a certain amount of stock, but like all the other Walmarts, like oftentimes you can go online and like you're looking at the stock for like the entire city, or like you're able to get it shipped from another store. Walmart's been interesting too, because they just DoorDash your stuff. So it's just like, sometimes you get the stuff to your house like the next day or the day after, which is pretty cool for cash flow. Did that happen for you as well?
Yeah. Usually if I find a hot item, what I'll do is I'll buy it from one, and then I'll go look at the other stores within like a 50-mile radius of me. And then I'll buy those all and have them sent to the house.
Yeah, that's a super good idea.
Yep.
Do you find, because I know with a lot of other categories, like a lot of stuff is out of stock at least part of the time. Do you find with the groceries that you are sourcing that you have to deal with stuff being out of stock, and like finding strategies on how to actually get those items when they're in stock?
Well, I really rarely have any of my items that I have replenishables on that are out of stock. They're pretty in stock, one store or a store that's 20 or 30 miles from me. So I really don't have that issue about running out of items.
That's a blessing. That's a huge blessing.
Yeah.
And so we were also talking behind the scenes about how you kind of got into selling coffee makers as well. What was that like?
Yeah, that was kind of a fluke. I had coffee makers that I had purchased from, I don't know, a yard sale or Goodwill or stuff like that. I had them on eBay. They weren't selling, so I thought, well, I'll check Amazon and see if I can get rid of them there. I was ungated, put them on Amazon. They sold within a week or less, and I'm thinking, there's a new opportunity.
Yeah. And so if they've literally been sitting on eBay, like nobody had been purchasing them.
They were on eBay for about 30 days.
Oh my word. Like nobody, like no arbitrager like found them for 30 days.
No, nobody picked them up. That was, but now I'm doing it, and it seems like everybody's jumping on them.
You're probably going after like really low ranked stuff though, that like, and you see the competition like purchasing the stuff.
Yeah. Well, like Keurig, the higher end espresso machines and things like that. I don't sell Black and Decker. I don't sell Mr. Coffee. So I'm always the Nespressos, those type of machines.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of different brands for coffee makers as well. Um, and I'm also sure that there's also opportunity with coffee makers as well, where like there's a pattern of, let's say Amazon was in stock on this coffee maker for like $100, but then they like get discontinued, but like the customers just want to rebuy that thing. And so the price goes up even though Amazon's out of stock and the supply is like kind of cut off, and then you can purchase them from eBay. Um, like there's probably also opportunity with that as well. Just 100 different ways to like do something as niche as like selling coffee makers. Like it's wild.
Yeah, even when, some of the coffee machines that I have, they're the older models. Somebody has one and they've loved it and it's broke. I have parts for it and they'll still just as quickly. So,
And that's literally another like whole business model you could do, which is like literally just like fixing the coffee makers
yeah.
or fixing any other of the hundreds and hundreds of types of items that there are out there that people will buy. People kind of don't know this necessarily, but you can sell used items on a lot of Amazon listings.
Mm-hmm.
What I would look for in determining whether or not you can sell an item on there is, well, like number one, like, does it like let you list it as used? There were some items that there wasn't a used market on it, but I just listed it used anyways. And I did find that customers kind of got confused. They like thought it was new when they purchased it, and they're like, "Why is this used?" So I found it's helpful if there's like almost like an ecosystem of sellers on the listing who are selling it used in some capacity. That's helpful. Although like the issues of like selling an item where there's not as many used sellers, like that's not even that big of an issue. You can still make it work well. What are your thoughts on that, Rob?
I've listed stuff that there's, was only new items and I've listed it as used, and haven't had really of an issue with that. I'm ungated. I can sell new, I can sell used in just about any of the coffee makers out there right now. So if I see a used one and I can sell it and make a great ROI, and a brand new one's sky high in prices, that thing will sell before it even gets to the warehouse. So I look at it, if there's no used ones on there and I have a used item, I think that's just a great opportunity.
That's true. Cause like, especially if you're listing it at like a massive discount, like,
Mm-hmm.
like people are going to be thankful. Cause it's like, I don't know, like it could be like a $500 espresso machine, for example, but like you found a used very good one and you listed it for 350. Someone's like, thank you, I can pay my bills and have this coffee machine.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, if I've sold espresso machines that are in $700 range, commercial one that I found great condition for 200. I sold it for $500-$600. People just like gone.
That's wild.
They don't last.
Yeah, that's absolutely insane. And so your return rate on those have been pretty good, actually. I know
I
we've
have only had since I've been doing this, I think I probably had 5 come back.
wow.
Yeah.
And you can just most of the time like just re-clean it up and relist it, right?
Yeah, I mean, the more complicated the machine, I've noticed that the individuals don't know how to use it properly, so that's why they return it.
Oh
And
yeah.
then I just clean it back up and put it right back up on Amazon.
Yeah. Yeah, that's wild. Yeah. And We have 11 people in the chat. Thank you guys for showing up. Just super entertaining talking to Rob about the coffee makers and the grocery as well. Like, I love the coffee makers because I think Rob and I are kind of two peas in a pod a little bit. Like, the high average selling price is really nice sometimes. Like, being able to purchase something for like $100, $200, $300 and turn around and like make a several $100 return on it just with like one item, like perfectly suits eBay to Amazon, is like really time efficient because like you don't have to like mess around with trying to place like multiple orders and like to get enough quantity. Like, no, you found your one profitable item that's going to make you $176 profit, which is like kind of the dream. I mean, low key, sometimes I want to look for like some really high ASP items, like a 5K item or something, but that would sketch me out a lot. But maybe that's a limiting belief too.
Yeah, I mean, finding that, that golden nugget to where it's just the high SP, like you were just talking, is one of those things that I look for. But I like to just kind of stay right on the midstream and, make a great ROI, find good products, and because I'm ungated in the higher end machines, I'm not too concerned about people jumping on board. But, if somebody tries to, I don't sell, like I said, I don't sell Mr. Coffee or Black and Decker, but you can make pretty good ROI on those items, but they're cheap. And, I just don't want to deal with those type of products.
Like, you just feel like they're just going to break.
Yeah.
Yeah. You want to sell quality so that you can just kind of clean it up and not have to actually fix it.
Yeah. I just don't want to sell, like you said, I'd rather go with quantity or quality instead of quantity.
Yeah. It's a good point. And we were talking a little about this on the 5-hour stream that we literally just did a couple minutes ago, about specifically Blaine and I were talking about this, about like how Q4, like preparing for Q4, like literally starts now in a way. Like for me last year, I was selling a lot of used items and I was like listing them as used acceptable. And I was sending in like the unit without the cords for like a docking station or a printer. And like the customer satisfaction on that was like absolutely garbage. Cause like imagine you purchase a docking station, you're like, I can't use it, there's no cord. So like there's going to be a small percentage of those people who actually go ahead and send you a counterfeit claim, which is a big problem when doing eBay to Amazon. And so like if you go for those like quick 1, 2, 3 month wins and don't think about like, oh, like this is actually not helping the customer and like I'm putting myself at risk of getting an IP claim or a counterfeit claim, then suddenly like September rolls around and you have a ton of claims on your account and you're not going to go hard for Q4 like you should have. So thinking long-term, like Rob, you're thinking like, you don't want to sell stuff that's going to break. You want your customers to be happy. Like that's going to continue to serve you. And like, I hope that the people listening, like they kind of take my example and take like what you've been doing and they like realize, okay, like let's sell good products that people like, that's actual quality and value to people.
Yep.
And like, yeah, maybe in the first month, like you're not going to make as much money, but you're going to be able to really iron out the way that you're sourcing. And like Amazon doesn't need to be a 2-year gig. Like this can, like you can get rich and retire off this if you actually are consistent in doing this the right way for a long time.
Yeah, I feel that, doing the right thing in the beginning is better than trying to fix a mistake in the back end. So all the items that I get, like, I've talked about, is they're all tested. They work. There's no missing parts. Everything's there. So when the customer gets it, they just plug it in, do their thing, and they're good to go. I found that having that type of business model is great because I have very little returns. You know, so I also look at the thing too, is if I bought something on Amazon and I get it and it's missing the decanter, well, now I got to go find a decanter. So everything that I sell is 100% in working condition. There's no, if there's scuffs on it, I try and clean them up. I try and fix it to where it looks good. And that seems to have worked well for me.
That's awesome. Yeah, this was so fun. Thank you for coming on. I just did a 5-hour stream.
I know you're burnt out.
It's time to go for a walk, but this was so much fun. Thanks for coming on, Rob. A bunch of fun. Hope you guys have a great rest of your day and take care. Bye-bye.
See you guys. Thank you.